So, like, what does it mean specifically to be like a first generation Mexican American, where your parents are from one country, but you're kind of have your I believe Hercules Gomez described it as like having a foot in either country, and you're not really one and you're not really the other either, and you're trying to find that identity about like who you are.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and usually that's how it's always described, like you feel like you're not really American, truly American like other Americans, you're not truly Mexican like others. So that's why a lot of people they start using different terms like Chicano or different things like that to kind of separate themselves even from that a little bit. But yeah, it is interesting, like my mom always says, "Oh, you're Mexican." And growing up, that's what she would tell me. "Oh, I'm Mexican, I'm Mexican." But then, and as you grow up and as you kind of understand how, well, what these terms mean, it's like, well, I only have citizenship here, so technically I'm only American,
Yeah.
and when I go visit Mexico, you really see the difference. They and if they find out you're from over here, they really let you know. Oh, they tell you, "Tú no eres mexicano," "Tú eres mexicano, gabacho," right? That's what they really let you know, straight up, and it's true. It's like you can't argue with that. It's like, yeah, yeah, they're right. What I mentioned earlier about how friends and family can have a big impact, I noticed that when I first moved over to an area where it's just majority Hispanic, and particularly from Mexico, all my friends followed the Mexican national team. So I remember when we watched the 2010 World Cup, I didn't follow the USMNT at all. I was following Mexico, because
Hmm.
all of my friends were. So when we watched the games together, it was Mexico, all of the Mexican games. It wasn't until a little bit later I got older, and then I'm like, I started feeling more like wanting to support the USMNT more. And so for the 2014 World Cup, it was the opposite. I followed the US more. But the funny thing is, and kind of like how you mentioned how you feel kind of divided, or and maybe not necessarily divided, but you just like, especially as a fan, it's easy to support both. I get that
Yeah.
it's a rivalry, and people who are maybe just, have no cultural ties to Mexico, it's easy for them to kind of like engage in that banter and kind of troll a little bit, and make fun of when Mexico loses, things like that. But for someone like myself, it's like, no, I want Mexico to do well. Whenever they're not playing the US, I root for Mexico, regardless. So, and it's just only if it's when you have to choose between both, it's like, oh, okay, I'll say I'll support the USMNT. But, that doesn't mean that I don't like Mexico or I don't root for them as well, which I
Yeah.
do.